A journey of faith. That was the path chosen by the early settlers of our community who gathered in 1892 for the Union Sunday School. They had a passion for education and a passion to share the good news of Jesus Christ in word and deed. And from their faith and courage, Webster Presbyterian Church came to life. That journey of faith has continued from generation to generation as a whole host of faithful followers of Christ have traveled the same path, each of us called to take a courageous step forward on our own journey.
Reverend Henry S. Little put our feet on this journey in 1893 when he organized the original Union Sunday School of Webster into a Presbyterian church. Although the first church building erected in 1896 was completely destroyed by the devastating hurricane of 1900, the presence of God's grace seemed apparent as a fallen roof beam protected the church's Bible. And the church knew their mission was to continue to proclaim His Word in this place. Volunteer labor built the new sanctuary along with contributions from area churches, another step in our journey of faith. The Sunday school and church served the entire community. Henry Waldo Boughton, the Sunday school superintendent, was faithful in planting seeds on his journey. He wanted all the children of the area to have the opportunity to know God and study the Bible. So the church welcomed people from all denominations, all cultures and races, all God's people. This little white church, Webster's oldest existing building, served its people well until 1960 when a new sanctuary was built. In 1961, a site for the Johnson Space Center was established just down the road from us. Now our church's journey of faith was tied directly to our nation's journey into outer space. The church grew in size and energy as it welcomed many early astronauts and engineers supporting the space effort. As our journey continued and our passion expanded, we outgrew that building also. In 1983, our journey took us to our present sanctuary.
As you can see, Webster Presbyterian's faith journey has led us to today's caring and diverse congregation with a strong sense of ministry and mission from those who have gone before us. More than 107 years ago, God called a church into being in Webster, Texas, and ever since then, members have planted and nurtured seeds of faith not only within the church and community, but throughout the world as well. Because of those who have walked this journey of faith before us, a vibrant church community is still at work today, still nurturing those seeds already planted, and planting those seeds of faith that will one day sustain and nurture future generations. Fellowship, care, nurture, worship, outreach, these are just some of the ways through which our calling to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ comes alive.
Here at Webster Presbyterian, we have a varied and vibrant fellowship program. Through our visitor and new member teams, we help bring people into the life of this congregation. Our Wednesday night suppers and programs such as Dinner Club 7 and Young at Heart give us opportunities to spend time together and grow in our relationships with one another. And then there are simply times to eat and have fun, such as the church-wide picnic and the talent show and ice cream social. Through our junior and senior high fellowship programs, our young people have the opportunity to work together, worship and learn together, and have fun together as they grow in their faith.
When we talk about care for the congregation, there are a number of groups that help support this effort. We have a commitment to the needs of our church family through the compassionate ministries of the Board of Deacons and the Stephen Ministers program. Our session and our church staff work hard to provide leadership for the continuing care and nurture of this congregation, both today and tomorrow as well.
At our church, nurture refers to the ongoing spiritual growth that is achieved through study and education. From the beginning, Sunday school classes have been a foundation of our church. These days, this includes weekday and weeknight educational programs and Bible studies. As our church family grows, the need for educational programs also increases. Our children's ministry programs have expanded. Adult classes alone have grown from 1 to 5, and we're looking to create more classes for all ages.
What unites this community of faith is our worship together. We have 3 Sunday worship services. Our music programs include choirs for all ages, handbells, recorders, and strings. Children's musicals and youth-led services also add a new and exciting dimension to worship. And our hard-working Sanctuary Guild ensures that worship takes place in pleasing surroundings.
Outreach and mission have been at the core of this church as it has grown over the years. Our entire church is involved in outreach. From young children putting together school supplies for underprivileged children, to youths going on mission trips, to adults volunteering their time and talents. Just 1 block away, we tutor children at McWhirter Elementary and build computer skills through Webster Technology Center. This year, we start a new adventure as we host a missionary from Guatemala. Inside our church building, we provide childcare, education, and a nurturing environment 5 days a week to 100 children from our area. We also visit nursing homes. We package groceries for ICM and work at the ICM resale shop. We build homes for Habitat for Humanity and provide leadership and financial commitment to Presbytery and many other organizations as well.
How could having one room where we could all gather together enhance our fellowship? How might we be able to meet the needs of our surrounding community if we had the space necessary to implement new programs? How do we meet the needs of the children in our community if we're lacking adequate space for childcare and Sunday school? Do we limit what God is intending for us if we are just keeping up with today's needs and not looking toward the future? What programs have we lost? What programs are we neglecting with inadequate facilities? These are the questions that face us on our journey. The way we answer these questions will determine the path our future will take. Our long-range planning team has prayerfully struggled with the response to these questions, and they are proposing a new direction for our journey. It requires physical growth to match our spiritual growth.
The plan is a phased approach which culminates in a city block and a half of land with beautiful yet simple facilities, including a sanctuary, fellowship hall, classrooms, childcare, and recreational spaces. The first phase will involve the construction of a new sanctuary facing NASA Road 1 with 40% more space for an additional 150 people beyond our current capacity of 350. We will also have the flexibility to expand from this new 500-person seating to a 730-person capacity for special occasions. The cross and stained glass will be an uplifting invitation to all the many people working, living, and visiting the Clear Lake area. Once this is complete, the existing sanctuary will be converted to fellowship space with a new kitchen, bathrooms, and adult classroom facilities. Additional classroom space will be available around the edge of the new sanctuary, in the new fellowship space, and by converting Boughton Hall to new rooms. Expansion of parking is also included. Our goal is to raise $3.1 million for this first phase. The second phase will add a new education building for children, youth, and adults, and will also provide facilities for the Child Care Center. This phase will also include demolition and conversion into new offices of our present education wing and Boughton Hall. The third phase will remodel the present administration wing to allow for expanded music facilities and meeting space. The fourth and final phase will remove the central parking area and provide a courtyard garden with covered walkway for dropping passengers off.
The information meetings that we have had to discuss the plan have given us all kinds of information, the thoughts and the concerns of our congregation. And over the course of these meetings, there are some questions that have stood out that we wanted to be sure and answer. And so the directors of our Journey of Faith campaign, Pete Kester and Mike Guillen, are here to provide answers to those questions. Mike, a common question was that since our education and our fellowship needs are so critical, shouldn't we address those construction needs first rather than a sanctuary?
Our cramped education and fellowship space is clearly a critical issue. But along with that, we've recently identified another crucial issue, and that is worship space. The early effort to solve the education and fellowship issue led us to a plan that would have built a new building close to our current sanctuary, but in fact would not have addressed sanctuary seating. That plan would have cost about $2.5 million. We now realize that the growth in the church is going to force worship space on us as a major issue. And so the current planning team and building team are looking at a phased plan where a new sanctuary will be built first. Following that, the current sanctuary will be converted to fellowship space along with classrooms. So 4 major strategic issues will be solved in our first phase. First, a visible and pleasant presentation on NASA Road 1. Expanded worship space with room to grow, a large fellowship hall, and 9 new classrooms. All this included in Phase 1 at just a marginal cost increase over the earlier plan.
Pete, one of the questions that came up quite often was whether we own the 2 pieces of property on the corner of NASA Road 1 and Austin Street where we propose to build the new sanctuary.
The owners of both lots have entered into oral agreement that their property will be sold only to the church. We are currently in the process of drawing up a sales contract with the owner of the house nearest to us so that the property transfer will occur early next year. A business operates in the house on the corner under a lease agreement that is about to terminate. We'll be working with the owner of this property and will not proceed with the architectural drawings until the acquisition of both properties is a certainty.
Speaking of the properties on NASA Road 1, what are the plans for the construction on NASA Road 1 and how will that impact our property?
The City of Webster has already initiated construction on NASA Road 1 between I-45 and Highway 3. This widening will be to 5 lanes, 2 in each direction, with a center turning lane provided. We will lose less than 1 foot of our church's property and will gain a sidewalk, decorative lampposts, and landscaping, courtesy of the city.
Many people want to understand exactly what is included in the estimated $3.1 million cost of Phase 1 of the plan.
Well, Phase 1 accomplishes quite a lot for our church, and it includes the cost of acquiring the 2 lots at the corner of NASA Road 1 and Austin Street, paying off the cost of the property on Moody Street where Linda Randolph, our youth director, is currently living, construction of the new sanctuary, construction of 5 classrooms on 2 sides of the new sanctuary, which will also serve to seat an additional 230 worshipers when necessary, furnishings for the new sanctuary, including the relocation of the organ, conversion of Boughton Hall into additional classroom space, conversion of the present sanctuary into our fellowship hall, addition of a kitchen, bathrooms, and classrooms to the newly converted fellowship hall, furnishings for new fellowship hall, including the kitchen's equipment, and conversion of the entire half block on Moody Street to parking.
Looking beyond Phase 1, Mike, we have heard several questions about what the cost would be to complete all 4 phases of the plan.
Phase 1 is the most expensive and the most thoroughly planned phase. The second phase includes construction of a new education building, the demolition of Boughton Hall, and the current education wing. The estimated cost of Phase 2, along with all the furnishings of the new building, is approximately $2 million. Phase 3 involves the renovation of the present administration wing of the church, creating new offices, providing expanded music rooms, and adding a new roof, all at the cost of approximately $1 million. Phase 4 focuses on the construction of the central courtyard and is estimated to cost about $500,000. So taken together, phases 2 through 4 is estimated to be on the order of $3.5 million. However, we should remember that the campus plan is intentionally conceptual and is subject to change as our needs and goals may change.
In thinking about the cost of Phase 1, many people wondered what would be done if the capital campaign raised only $1 million or $2 million or say $5 million instead of our stated estimate of $3 million.
When the building team developed this plan, they worked to meet every expressed need without letting total costs limit the overall vision. Out of this process, Phase 1 emerged with a cost of $3.1 million. Rather than guessing what the congregation might commit, the team decided to present the whole package to the church. Once the pledges have been received and the total commitment is known, the building team will return to the drawing board once again and then present the congregation with a plan based on what they have heard in information meetings and within the budget established by our pledges. The final plan could include making changes to the current plan. It could propose seeking outside funding, or it might conclude that all 4 phases are attainable now. But whatever the team recommends, all of us need to understand that it will be just that, a recommendation. Only the congregation can and will make the decision regarding any plan. So no matter what direction may be considered for the journey before us, the congregation will decide what the next step will be.
This is clearly a vision of growth that will require courage and sacrifice to achieve. A 3-year commitment is our goal. This over and above giving, separate from our normal pledges, ensures that we won't affect the vital ministries and programs already in place. When you prepare for your own contribution to our journey of faith, remember, we are all asked to sacrifice generously. As the Bible suggests, not equal gifts, but equal sacrifice. This means that though the size of each person's gift will vary, each gift represents an equal sacrifice for the giver. The first phase is a big step, but it represents the beginning of a bigger plan, not only for our church campus, but also for a greater level of caring for our community and for the world. Those who made the journey of faith that brought us to this day walked each step in faith. Now is the time for us to continue the journey, to step forward in faith. We can become a place where people find love and acceptance, forgiveness and hope, guidance and encouragement. We can be a place where the Spirit is alive and present and surrounding. We can be a place where people develop spiritual maturity through Bible study and interaction with each other, where its members form lasting bonds of friendship and caring through fellowship. We can be a regional church for the rapidly growing Bay Area. It can take place right here in an environment designed to minister to the total person, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and socially, and set in a peaceful, inspiring garden landscape reflecting God's love for the world. Join us on our journey of faith, answering the call to care with the courage to grow.